Hello friends, welcome to Numa Yoga. My name is Rick, and today I have one of my favorite practices for you. Well, they're all my favorite practices, but this is one of my most favorite practices. It's the 6-point practice. This is one that I found so interesting when I started learning this program. And it's about going through each one of the main joints at a time and then putting them together. So we'll go through one shoulder at a time, one hip at a time, and then the top and the bottom of the spine, and we'll get them to move organically and uniquely together. And it's going to unlock and open up. It's going to open up a lot of awareness to these deep spaces within our body, and hopefully you'll feel areas move that you haven't felt move in a long time. And that's waking cells up, friends. We're waking cells up that are kind of stuck, a little buried in tension. And when we slow down, when we really slow down and observe some movement, we can see these tight cells and we can get them to relax and soften. And this is what pain is. Pain is stuck tension within our body, and we're just skipping by it. We can no longer observe it because it's subconscious. So by going slow, we bring that awareness to this, right, friends? And you'll feel it. You'll feel it in the bumpiness and the skippiness through your movements. And that's what we call sensory motor amnesia. And that's why we do these subtle somatic movements, is to make them aware again, to feel those muscle cells again. And then we can use all our tissues well, getting rid of that pain, all right? So how do we do that? How do we do that? Well, find a comfortable place. Let yourself lay long. And we're going to do that Soma scan to check in. So as you lay long here, make sure that it isn't uncomfortable for your back. If this is causing tension in your low back, you could place something under the knees or just place the soles of the feet down. We'll be coming there shortly. But if it feels good, if it feels all right in your body, let your legs slide long. And let's take a moment to scan these 6 points. So you can start with the back of your head. Notice on the back of your head, where is that weight resting? And does this feel like it's in the center? Does your head feel balanced, or does it feel like it's laying off to one side or the other? You could just gently rock that side to side. Does your chin feel like it's pulling towards your chest or pointing up towards the ceiling? See if you can feel, what does center feel like for your head? And just traveling down your spine. What does the base of your spine feel like? Does the back feel relaxed and at ease on the floor, or is there some tension? Maybe some dullness, some heaviness? No, one thing that's interesting, friends, is it's not easy to see new things. We only know what we know in the moment. And as we start to go through our exercises here, we're going to start to open up new spaces and have new sensations. So we do this just to see what we can feel now in this present moment. And just be curious about yourself. Notice what you can notice, what bubbles up into your awareness, just as you allow your awareness to be at the base of your spine. Does it feel a little leaning to the left, a little leaning to the right? Tipping forward or backward? You can notice the weight in each hip. Does the one hip feel leaning more to the floor or even pulled up more towards your armpits? One leg could feel longer than the other. And if we have a lot of leg pain, friends, if we have knees or feet pain, It could be coming from up in your hips or around your low back, because everything ultimately is connected to the spine. And if there's any imbalances here, then that kind of radiates down the body. And a funny thing about pain is it isn't always where we feel it. It could be caused from another imbalance in the body. It could be caused by anything. So everything's connected. And the fun thing about this 6-point practice is we're going to start to feel these connections throughout our body. And you're just noticing any sensations. Hips, maybe up in your shoulders now. What do your arms feel like as they come out of your torso? And is there any difference between the two? Does one arm feel more alive than the other? Sometimes when we have injuries on side to side, we can have different sensations. We might be holding or protecting one arm. That might feel tighter. Your other arm will feel more relaxed or more connected. As you're scanning your body, noticing your body, let's move a little past that. What is your breath doing? How are you breathing? Are you breathing through your nose? Through your mouth? If you're breathing through your mouth, could you gently let your lips close? You could let the tongue rest on the roof of the mouth. You can even silently say the letter N. Notice where your tongue rests. Leaving it here is called Jiva Mudra, and it helps prevent mouth breathing. We are nose breathers. We are primarily designed to breathe through the nose. So try your best to become a 100% of the time nose breather. That could make a massive change in your overall health and well-being. Just that little thing right there. Profound changes in health. And then just let your belly relax and allow your breath to go low in your body. And for just the next 4 or 5 breaths, observe your breath reaching low down into your abdomen, low abdomen towards your hips, towards the base of the spine. Letting the belly stay relaxed on the inhale. And then you feel the abdomen sinks down on that exhale. Just let your awareness feel your breath. Let your breath be slow and calm so that starts to relax the body. In the body, friends, everything's connected. Even these other layers of physical body is connected to your breathing. When you breathe slow and smooth, that relaxes your body. But your mind is also connected to your breathing. And same thing, when you breathe slow, calm, it soothes your mind. It's the bridge to the two. So good breathing helps build a happy body, but also a happy mind. So more magic to the breath there, friends. Okay, so now let's start to shift into our practice that we've kind of got a sense of how we're arriving. And let the soles of the feet bend, the knees will point up, and we're going to start to work through the spine first. We'll start with the top of the head. So how would you just start to move the top of your head? Let's bring your awareness to your nose, and with your eyes closed, just draw a vertical line with the nose. You could tap the chin down towards the chest. Notice the effect on the spine that has. And then point your chin up towards the ceiling, but let your back of your head stay connected to the floor. Tap the chin down. And then point the chin up. Just a couple of times, just to get a sense of the head. Okay. And then let's just a few times let the nose move horizontally. So you're just going to move it to the left and to the right. Now do this really slowly. Try to feel where that center point is. Turn just a few inches to the left. Let the ear come towards the floor. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Feel the head come back. Notice if this is a smooth, easy movement, or does it feel kind of tight, sticky, any dullness? And then just make a little circle with your nose. So can you draw a small circle on the ceiling with your nose? Notice the back of your head orbiting on the floor, right? This movement's coming from the tip of the nose, and you feel the back of the head orbiting on the floor. Change directions. Really small circle here, really small circle. There's a little trick when you do this. You notice what's happening to your breathing. It should become, or should be becoming, very subtle. You feel that? You could change directions again. Subtle, subtle breathing. Just keep drawing that circle, feel the circle, but notice the effect on your breathing and just let it happen. Let your breathing become very light, very calm, very slow. All right. Now you can let that pause. Just notice the back of your head. How's the back of the head resting on the floor? And we'll come to the tailbone when you're ready. Okay, so now how are we going to press the tailbone down to the floor, this second point? So this is the arch. When you do this, when you tap your tailbone down, it's going to make your back arch. So to do this, you're sinking your tailbone towards the floor, and your low back has to kind of lift up. Feel that? Slowly, slowly, slowly bring this down. Nice and slow, relax that arch. We want to feel that tension in the low back dissolve as you come back. You can try that again. So it's almost like your pelvis rolls towards your heels and you shift the pressure towards the base of your spine. If you feel that lumbar spine arch, let your belly and your ribs be relaxed so they can open up. And you feel that backline engagement. So here's the magic in somatic experience. Slow, slow, slow relax. Good. And try that one more time. So very slowly, nice and easy, arch your back, tap the tailbone down, and you're in this extension of the spine. You're letting your belly open up. Feel the muscles of the low back engage as you make that connection into the floor. 10 seconds to let that relax. You could count slowly. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then pause. And just notice. We'll shift into the other direction here. How do you point the tailbone up? So to scoop your tailbone up, you got to engage your belly. So squeeze your belly muscles and let the tailbone float up. You might feel like your legs want to work. Let your legs stay relaxed. And then slow, let the belly relax. And you'll feel the tailbone soften down. We'll try that 2 more times. On an exhale, you even want to draw the belly down a little bit. So you exhale, engage your abdomen, and let that tailbone scoop up. Avoid pressing through the feet, but feel your abdominal wall engage. And nice and slow, very slowly. Soften and feel your pelvis unroll, uncoil. And one more time, scoop that tailbone up when you're ready. Feel the lift. Feel like the shrinking of your front body, like you're scooping your tail up, shortening the belly, and then nice and slow, with all your awareness, right? All your awareness, feel what it's like to let go. Okay, now let's connect this to the head. So when you arched your back, when you tap that tailbone down like you were doing, can you also tap your chin down? And feel a little pressure from the chin tapping to the chest. Feel those 2 points going down. Now let that relax. Point the tailbone up. Point the chin up. Let that soften. And the chin and tailbone point down. Let that relax. So you notice this relationship. When your chin points up, your tailbone points up. You feel your front body shorten and engage, the front of the spine. So feel the whole length when the chin's up, tailbone's up. And then so slow, you just bring those 2 points down. And then you arch those 2 points and you tap the chin and the tailbone down. Feel how this echoes through the whole spine. You got this cranium and your sacral, they're rocking together, right? So it's like a cranial sacral rhythm. And you can make this a little fluid if it's feeling good and connected. The 2 points point up. And then your 2 points point down. And they connect to the floor. And then your spine gets light. Good. So you feel how you got those 2 joints just off to the side of your spine, the hips and the shoulders, and they're just relaxed. They're just passive observers here as your spine, the central column of your body, is in this little rhythm of flexion and extension. And just imagine your spine moving here. Don't put a lot of effort into this. Can you just rhythmically wiggle your spine like this when the chin and the tailbone tap down, changing that to chin and tailbone pointing up. Smooth, easy rhythm, as little force as you can, but just observing movement. Imagine yourself wiggling out tension, wiggling out pain, and massaging every vertebrae, all the joints. And just let yourself rock between and feel each vertebrae moving, like you're giving the joint between them a massage. Good. Okay, so now we can let the spine settle down. So let yourself soften. And we're going to come to our shoulders. So you can feel that line down the center of you. Now come up to the top and feel your arms at the side. And just feel your right shoulder. Now how would you press the outside of your right shoulder down? Just sink it into the floor. And then slowly, slowly, slowly let that go. Feel that imprint soften. That might have felt like a little shaky or a little interesting. Try that again. Can you sink the outside of the shoulder down? And then can you feel the middle of the shoulder sinking down as well? Soften the middle and soften the outside. Let the shoulder relax. Good. Try that one more time. Sink the outside of the shoulder down. And then even feel the upper back
and the shoulder blade sinking into the floor. So this whole right upper quadrant of you. And then very slowly, slowly, slowly feel your shoulder blade relax. And then the outside of the arm relax. Can you feel the difference between the two? Oh, and I just had a nice release in my shoulder. It felt like everything just lets go. Good. Try that one more time. One more time. Sink that down. Feel this right area, this right upper back, sinking into the floor. And the outside of the humerus bone at the tip of the shoulder, that's also drawing down. Slowly, slowly, slowly let that relax. As slow as you can. As slow as you can control that. And you'll feel deep in the shoulder. Deep. Release. Maybe a clearing or some fluid flowing in. Nice. Making space. Exactly what we want. Let's try the other direction. So how would you float this shoulder off of the mat? So try to float the back of the shoulder off the floor, and you'll feel the shoulder rolling up or lifting up. Can you relax and bring that straight back down? Soften. Feel that shoulder melt down to the floor. See if there's anywhere in your body that's bracing, trying to hold on, maybe assist. And how would you let that go? Good. Try that again. Now avoid pressing with the hand or the arm. The arm is a noodle. It's coming from your trunk. We want to learn to move from our torso first and not the smaller muscles in the arm. So feel your chest floating the shoulder up. You feel your shoulder blade floating off the floor. And then nice and slow as you can, you bring that down. And it might feel like it wants to skip or bump or drop, splash out of there. Do your best, stay connected, move so slow. Stay connected and all the way down. Good. Let's go back and forth. So can you go back to sinking that shoulder down and letting that go and then floating that up and letting that go? What is this side? What is this shoulder telling you? Is it waking up? Are you getting new cells, new muscles back online? What's it like to sink this down into the floor? And what relaxes when you just let that go? What does it feel like to float the shoulder towards the ceiling? And how smooth does that come back down to the floor? Is it dropping? Is it splashing out? Can you go really slowly? Challenge yourself here. Good. Let's let this right side take a break. Bring your awareness to the left shoulder. When you're ready, let's start floating up. We'll start going up on this side. So float the left shoulder up. Like there's helium and it lifts towards the ceiling. Feel the outside of the shoulder lifting, but also feel like the mid shoulder lifting, even closer towards the neck. As you relax this down, what's letting go in your body? What's hanging on in your body? When you soften all the way down, was it skippy? Was it bumpy? Did you notice anything else? Try that a few times. Can you float that up? I notice that my right shoulder wants to help big time. So I'm going to just go into that just a little bit. And then I'm going to tell my right shoulder to relax. I still got my left shoulder up. I'm going to let my right shoulder go. And then my left shoulder. Just to teach it that it doesn't have to be there to help out. We usually have friends, a bossier side. Usually that's our dominant side, right? it's used to being in control and in charge, but here it's got to be that observer, right? Let the non-dominant side have its turn. Good. Okay, and then try and bringing that back. So what would it be like to sink the outside of the shoulder down? Can you feel the outside of the shoulder draw in towards the earth? And then even in the middle of the shoulder, slowly relax, slowly relax. What do you feel melt out of there? Good. Try that again. Press that shoulder down. Feel the left shoulder sink into the floor, and then let that go. Let that go nice and slow. And then a few times back and forth. So float up, relax down, nice and slow. Any skips, jumps, or bumps, try to comb that out. Nice and smooth. Smooth thoughts. Good. Pressing back, letting go. Floating up, letting go. Let's get a little twist going through our shoulders. When you float that left shoulder up, press your right shoulder down. Let the two come back to center. Switch that up. Float the right shoulder up, press the left one down. Back to center. Do that a few times side to side. What does that feel like? To let one shoulder up, one shoulder back. Slowly feel how they both come back to center. Left shoulder down, right shoulder up. Good. Move with awareness, maximum awareness, minimum effort. Good. Good focus. And just move in these shoulders with freedom, right? This is how our shoulders move when we walk. This is the top part of the walking pattern. The shoulders moving in opposite directions, a little rotation. Okay. Now you feel this movement, this side-to-side movement? We can do the same thing with our hips. So let's let the shoulders soften, and we'll come down and get the same rocking side to side with the hips. Now, how do we do this? Okay, we'll try this out. Bring your awareness to your left leg. Now, imagine that you're going to pick the foot up off the floor, but keep your foot connected to the floor. So keep it connected, but imagine picking it up. Feel how that pulls your hip down into the floor. Foot stays glued, but imagine picking it up and let the left hip sink down. Feel that? Now really slowly let that go, and buoyantly the hip comes back. You'll feel this through the leg, and there might be a softening at the end. Very interesting movement. Try this a few times. Ideally, we move without any awareness in the leg, and you just get that hip to press into the floor. The sense is one hip tipping up, so your other side will float up. You could rest your hands right here on your hips on the top. Notice it's like a teeter-totter. When you relax, you come back to center. You could try that again. If you want to imagine like you're picking your foot up, softly pick that foot up, or imagine it, and sink. Feel your left hip sinking down. Feel the outside of the left hip sinking or pulling towards the floor. Slowly, you let that go, and you come back to this neutral. Try the other side. Imagine picking up that right foot. Let your right hip sink down. Do you see what happened to your left hip? It floated up. And so slow, relax. And you feel yourself untwist back to center. A few times, just to this right side, sink. Right hip down. Slow let go. Feel everything that you feel in your core as you do this. We want to do this with core muscles, not with the leg muscles. So when you exhale, imagine like you're picking that leg up, but that's coming from your core. Your hip sinks in, the pelvis is twisting, and the hip is drawing down. Relax. Can you teeter-totter this side to side? Can you press the left hip down and feel the right hip float up? Can you slowly go back to neutral and then teeter-totter off to the other side? Feel this from the energy pressing down into the floor. And you kind of ride it like a wave from side to side. Sinking one hip down, releasing, staying connected back to center, and then from center shifting over to the right side as the right hip sinks in and you feel the outside of the right hip drawing towards the floor. And easy does it letting go. You can stick with just doing the sinking it down, or do you notice when that sinks down, one side goes up? Can you go into the going up part? Can you lift that part up? Sensation is that if there's an elevator button that you need to tap with the front of your knee, it's like you're tapping that button with the front of your knee, and that lifts the hip up. Feel that? And you relax that down. Other side, maybe your left knee tries to tap that button. Left hip floats up. Let that melt down. A few times side to side, you'll feel how you can get your hip to float and lift and relax. The other side lifts and relaxes. So our hips, they're fused from side to side. So when one goes down, the other one goes up, but we can move from awareness of either side, right? You could either press one down or you could float it up. Do you feel how that works? This is kind of a difficult movement at first. It's very subtle. But when you start to clean this up, then your spine can twist with the hips very smoothly, very efficiently. This really, really, really improves walking. When we can get this good rotation coming from our core. And then we can match this with our shoulders, right? So when you sink your right hip down, let your left shoulder sink down. You feel those 2 points pressing into the floor? Slowly soften that back to center. Try that to the left. Sink the left hip down. Sink your right shoulder down. Soften those 2 points. And kind of do this side to side. So your right hip sinks into the floor. Your left shoulder sinks down. And then it's the other side. The left hip sinks down. Right shoulder sinks down. And you're feeling 2 points connecting into the floor and relaxing simultaneously. A few more times back and forth. Feeling the diagonal connection across your torso. There's a relationship with the way these two joints work in our diagonal pattern that really allow us to make some dynamic, athletic, twisty movements. Good. And this little twists are great for getting pain out of the spine, for sure. Let's try to go the other direction. So when you float one hip up, can you float the opposite shoulder up? So float your right hip up. Let your left shoulder float up. And slowly bring these 2 points down. Try that on the other side. Right hip floats up, right shoulder floats up. Slowly bring that down. So do your best here. I know these movements might be kind of complicated at first, but remembering that this is just a practice, and that the more you improve at the practice, the better your movement will get, the more freedom you'll have in your body. And then we also want to remember that everything's connected. So when we start to open up the channels in our physical body, then we start to just experience better energetic health. We'll have more energy. We'll be in less pain. So it'll definitely make our mind feel a lot better. But we breathe better too. And so everything influences everything else. And we start to create a more positive health cycle as opposed to staying in pain and building a negative health cycle, right? We're reversing that. Let's go the other direction. Okay. So keep trying that a few more times. Hip floats up, left shoulder. Opposite points with helium in them. And so connected to coming back to relaxing. Good. One more time, each side. You could go floating up and back. Good. Pause that diagonal movement from the side to side. And let's recheck. We'll just take a moment here. Let's take a moment just to sense and feel. What do your shoulders and hips feel like in your awareness right now? Do you know what these spaces, what are they feeling? Do they feel open, connected? And you can let the shoulders and hips be relaxed again. Can you go back into that arch where the tailbone and the chin tap down and the flatten and move through your spine? What's it like now? When you move through your spine, what do the shoulders and hips feel like? Relax off at the side. When you flatten, you point the tailbone up, point the chin up. You feel your front body active, and then when you arch, tailbone taps down, chin taps down. Now we can bring all the points into this. So when you flatten, right? When you flatten, you point the tailbone up and the chin up. You can even reach your hips up. It's very subtle, and then your shoulders come up. Let the shoulders relax down, chin relaxes, tailbone and hips relax. Try the opposite. Press the shoulders back, press the hips down, and press the tailbone down. And the chin. So all 6 points are pressing towards the floor. Soften that. Point the shoulders up. Point the chin up. Scoop the tailbone up. And even try to pull your hips a little bit like you're trying to pull them together across the front of your body. As they're lifting up, slow. Shoulders come down, hips come down. Everything softens, and then shoulders press back into the floor. Chin taps down, tailbone taps down. Let that relax. Outside of the shoulders, point up towards the ceiling, reach up, chin points up. Tailbone scoops up. Good. Keep waving through these 6 points in your body all together. So we just did some diagonal lines, and that's an asymmetrical pattern in the body. And now we're imprinting in this nice symmetrical movement of our shoulders and hips and spine all working smooth together. Good. Take your time, take your time. There's no rush here. You really want to just keep observing. How are you moving? Can it be a little smoother with a little more freedom, a little more ease? How could I make more space? What's your breathing doing? Is it still easy, or do you notice your breath bracing? Okay. And then you could let that come to a pause. Few breaths. And then we can just observe each point, one at a time. So let's tap the tailbone down. Feel the tailbone. Soften that. Tap the left hip down. Sink the left hip into the floor. Soften that. Left shoulder presses down. Relax that. Chin taps down. Relax that. Right shoulder sinks into the floor. Relax, release. Right hip sinks down into the floor. Slowly, slowly, slowly back to neutral. Okay, and then you can, other direction, let's point the tailbone up. Release. Left hip points up. Release. Left shoulder points up. Release. Point the chin up. Release. Point the right shoulder up. Release. Point the right hip up. Release. Let the legs slide long. Just feel, how does your back, shoulders, and hips feel now compared to when we started? Did you make any shifts? How does your breathing feel? Just notice what you notice. Don't let yourself be in this state of ease, this state of connection. Breathe slowly into your body. Taking long, slow breaths in and out. But not forcing a big breath. You're just drawing in the right amount of air for you. It's an easy inhale. There's no force. When you relax your belly, relax your chest, you're just allowing in the right amount of air. And nice and slow, the body lets it go. Allow yourself to lie here and just observe a slow, smooth, easy breath. Be here as long as you would like. Wherever you're at, may you have a wonderful rest of your day. To your health and to your happiness. Namaste.